So a quick demonstration of this applet that we're going to use. So if you just kind of control click here in the handout, it's going to take you to the website. And you'll see it's going to have some information we can change. It's automatically brought something up here. So one of the first things I'm going to ask you to do is actually just to hit reset so we can kind of talk through what this applet is even doing. So the goal here is going to be to create multiple confidence intervals all at the same time. So things that we get to choose whether it's going to be normal or a right skewed population. That's what it kind of means by the distribution there. We're going to start with it being normal and we'll play with it being right skewed later. We can change the sample size. So this is going to be our n for each of our confidence intervals. So I'm going to take one sample of size 100, calculated confidence interval. Take another sample of size 100, calculated confidence interval. And so this is going to do one confidence interval, and then down here I'm going to tell it how many confidence intervals I want it to be. For my population, I can specify a different mean or a different standard deviation, so I can see how that affects things as well. Now, each time that I change something here, so for example, if I want to change my mean to be 500, for example, it does not automatically do it down here until I click the Update Applet. So every time we change something up here, we make sure we hit the Update Applet before we keep going. So I can change any of these numbers in the way that I want. The directions code will tell you how I want you to change things so that we can kind of demonstrate some certain things. So just doing it once here, I'll just do the sample of 100, mean of 500, standard deviation of 10. When I hit that Update Applet, I'm going to see that my numbers here are updated, and it's going to automatically do 100 confidence intervals for me. Now, if I wanted to, I could also change the confidence that I want, but for everything we're going to do, we're just going to keep it the same at 95%. So again, it makes little things easier to compare when we keep them consistent. So what it's done here is it's graphed all these different intervals. You might not get to see them all, especially when we start doing like 1,000 intervals. But what you can see is here's where that population mean actually is. So here's that 500, and it has those different confidence intervals. You can kind of hover over a certain confidence interval to see what the actual values were, what the standard error was. So the mean that you see there is the sample mean, and that's sort of where that dot is going on in the center of each of those confidence intervals that you see graphed. It gives you the standard error, so that means that's going to be that standard deviation over the square root of n, so kind of being a little careful of kind of making sure we know that that's different than the standard deviation. And it does also give you the lower limit and upper limit, so here I can see that this one actually did not include 500, and that's why I colored that one red. I could highlight over another one and see that exact same information. So you'll notice here, if you notice that the standard error is actually different each time. So what that means for me here is that this is doing a t interval for me, because otherwise my standard error will be the same each time. Because if I have that same population standard deviation and the same sample size each time, that would be the same every single time, but it's not. So since it's changing, I can kind of tell you that it's using S and not sigma when we're doing that there as well. Again, you can change the numbers. I'm going to specifically tell you how to do that. Most often, I'm going to tell you to hit Update Applet and then do another 1,000 intervals so that you have a total of 1,100 intervals that you're going to be working with. So hopefully this quick little demo kind of shows you around the applet. Always holler for me if you have questions on what anything is showing you out here, or of course what you need to do as well.